right on time. We are right on time. It is 5 o'clock straight up. Well, a little bit before. It's 4:59. Hello, Lemonation. Hello, Lemonation. How are you guys doing today? Thumbs up. 3, 2, 1. Ready to squeeze the juice? Yes, yes, yes. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. So Don is still holding my interest in the afternoon. All the lemon heads, once again, thank you very much for that. What was that? Remedial somebody. What is that? Emergency remedial truth. I appreciate it. Thumbs up. Hi, Don. Hi, Tim. Hello, everyone. There is so much to talk about today. Guys, can you believe? Think about it. I don't know if you guys realize this. Can you believe there are the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court is talking about what to do about our former president who wants to be president again. The Supreme Court. Hello, Jayon Anthony. Hello, Lemonation, as you said. Hello, Button Creation Z. I appreciate it. Hi, guys. Don, Tim, Sarah, great show. Thank you. They're talking about the show that I did with Tim Miller and Sarah Longwell from the Bulwark. So thanks to those guys. Make sure you tune in. It's a show that we shot earlier today. It's fantastic. We break down everything you need to know. We even talk a little basketball. We talk what a woman's right to choose is going to do to this election. We talk about a lot. So listen, I have a lot going on, but I'm going to start. This is my breaking news today. Okay. I'm going to be a little bit unorthodox because I want you guys to really take a look at this. All right. So call everybody in. And this is what I'm going to say. This is what I say. You see what that says? What does that say? It says, what the hair? What the hair? Okay, so go with me here. Before I get into the news of the day, I just want everybody to take a look at this and try to help me figure out what's going on. What the hair? Okay, everybody. Hello, what the hair? Are you guys ready for this? I'm going to do this thing that everybody freaks out about, right? Because the TV flips. Okay. So let's figure this out together because I can't tell you what is happening here. Look at what is this? What is going on here? What is that? Look, I'm a man of a certain age. It's a little thinning, but that is some crazy comb over right there. What is that? Do you guys see that? Can you imagine every day trying to figure that out? What is that? I'm not saying, look, if you're losing your hair, I mean, that's fine. You shave it off, but I'm just saying, I can't imagine. It's like a huge iPhone. Yes, the TV is like a huge iPhone. I can't imagine doing this in the mirror every single day. Like, does someone do that for him? Does he do that himself? Oh my goodness. Okay, so that is our that's our what the hair moment of the day. And you know what this comes from, right? Because he is busy. He's out there saying, I'm not in the court, and what a shame that I'm not in the court because my opponent is out there on the campaign trail, and I'm not. So while he's doing that with the hair, oh my gosh, Charlie Possum here. While he's doing that in court, and his hair is doing that, he is campaigning. He is out there saying Joe Biden is the worst president since Jimmy Carter. He says he's the worst president and he should shut down the border. And he is at his trial campaigning, taking questions from reporters. I keep telling you guys every day, the guy is a master manipulator when it comes to the media. He is manipulating the media. He's taking this to every advantage outside of the courtroom, outside of his trial, a criminal trial. He's taking questions and his hair is doing that thing. What is that? We're laughing and joking about that. But so he's pretending that this trial is taking him off the campaign trail, but it's really not. He's out there in front of the cameras because he knows every news station in the world, even some entertainment stations all over the world, Cameras are trained on that courtroom and him. So he's going to come out there and he is going to talk. I just want to get to some of the questions before, or some of the comments before. John Paul says, Don, at this point, it's very exhausting. Symbolist Noise says, yes, that is some crazy comb over. I lost it. Bogan Painter says he's getting hundreds of millions in free campaign advertising. Yes, he is. Guido65 says Trump flap, $59.99. The Trump flap, $59.99. Kathy Vanna says T. Rump can't live with his own reality, to include his hair loss. Crazy. Trax and Relax says those eyebrows, he could remove half of them for a hair transplant and still have huge brows. Here is Symbolist again, says yes, just the rug. He's been wearing that for a while now. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, the like button, and make sure you see our new subscribe button at your screen. So think about the Trump hair. We're talking about that. Think about him out there campaigning. He's on the campaign trail out in front of the courthouse. Really crazy. That man has a lot going on today, okay? So I have a question for you, my friends. I have a question for you. What is your favorite James Bond movie? What's your favorite James Bond movie? Mine is okay, I'll say License to Kill. Mine is License to Kill because it has a lot to do with what's going on today, okay? That's what it is. And I have a feeling that Donald Trump's favorite is the same too, right? Why? Because License to Kill is what? 1989's License to Kill, because that's exactly what the former president's lawyer argued today in front of the Supreme Court about Donald Trump. We're going to get into that. Number two, that's not the only Trump topic that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about him campaigning. We're going to talk about him at down at the court, the Supreme Court. And we're going to talk about him back down in Lower Manhattan this morning for another day of Pecker problems. He has Pecker problems. The former National Enquirer publisher is on the stand. I'm talking about David Pecker, okay? Get your minds out of the gutter. But Pecker is a problem. Donald Trump has Pecker problems. I also want to talk about the breaking news about Harvey Weinstein. Did you guys hear that? Harvey Weinstein, his 2020 conviction was overturned. What does that mean for his legacy? What does that mean for the Me Too movement going forward? What does that mean? He has a new trial schedule. What does that mean? I see all the mushrooms you guys are putting up there. Come on, y'all. I see the mushrooms. Y'all are terrible. Pecker problems. Drunken Monkey is laughing about that. He does have Pecker problems. Okay, so let's talk about this License to Kill, right? This is very fascinating what happened at the Supreme Court today, because I was listening to the oral arguments. The Supreme Court is taking up the case of immunity for Donald Trump, okay? So his lawyers are claiming that presidential immunity, he is immune from prosecution from Jack Smith's election interference case against him, right? And it is, listen, this is more important and more sweeping than you might realize. The court is weighing this novel legal question of whether a former president can be prosecuted for what Trump's attorneys say were official acts. They're saying that what he did, everything that he does, are official acts in office. Several justices have been raising concerns about the broad implications for the former commanders in chief. So listen to how this went down, okay? I want you to listen to this testimony so you can just see how bizarre it is. This is what Justice Sonia Sotomayor was asking. She said, if the president decides that his rival is a corrupt person and he orders the military to assassinate him, and is that within his official acts to which he has immunity? That could well be an official act, Trump lawyer John Sawyer replied. Justice Kagan asking if a president could be prosecuted for selling nuclear codes to a foreign adversary. Trump's lawyer replying, only if he were impeached and convicted first, and even then, maybe not, because it could qualify as an official act. So basically what they're saying, if they're saying the president is immune, that he has broad powers is what they're saying, that he can do whatever he wants. The president can do whatever he or she wants, whoever happens to be president. They're arguing now on behalf of Donald Trump, right? But really, this would be precedent setting for whoever comes into office next, and possibly whoever was president before, because then they won't be able to be prosecuted for whatever crimes they may have done in the office of presidency, as the president. But they're arguing that. So what he's saying is basically saying if Joe Biden wanted to send the military after Donald Trump to execute him, God forbid, and Joe Biden wouldn't do that. I'm not wishing that happens. But that's what they're saying, that Joe Biden would have broad powers to do that and would be immune to prosecution. That's the kind of precedent it was set. If there is a President Donald Jr., God forbid, in the future, that president would be immune to everything. If there is a President Ivanka in the future, she would be immune to whatever she could send the military after her arrival, and guess what? Would be immune from prosecution. That is some crazy stuff. Don't you guys think that's nuts? The justices, though, if you heard these questions, they were like perplexed. They were like, wait, what? Wait, what? What are you talking about? The justices were skeptical of the argument of this blanket immunity, how it would apply to a former president. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, a Trump nominee herself, was among those who zeroed in on what type of behavior Trump's lawyers maintain were private acts or official acts. How do you separate the two? How do you separate a personal grudge from something that is political, from something that is an official act? How do you do that? Presidents are people too. Barrett read several of the alleged acts from the indictment concerning the involvement of private actors outside the government to Trump's lawyers, D. John Sawyer, okay, and asked if they were official or private acts. One such allegation, go with me closely here. One such allegation, she said, was that Trump spoke to a private attorney who was willing to spread knowingly false claims of election fraud to spearhead his challenges to the election results, which appeared to be a reference to Trump ally Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York City. And I hate to speak ill of someone who's a leader, the former disgraced mayor of New York City, who apparently they have the same style as he and Donald Trump. Remember the orange stuff going down? Do you remember we saw Rudy Giuliani at the White House Correspondents'? We were standing out. We were at a brunch at Tammy Haddad's. We were at a brunch. It was hot outside in Washington, D.C., and literally Rudy Giuliani's head, his hair, or whatever it was melting. He was melting, and the orange stuff was rolling down his face. So that whole thing where you saw him standing out in front of the Four Seasons lawn and garden or whatever it was, that whole thing, we had seen that act before, springs before at the White House Correspondents' luncheon or brunch or whatever it is. We had seen that before. Rudy Giuliani was melting and wiping it somewhat with a handkerchief. Crazy. So they have the same stylist, whatever this orange thing is that they have an issue with orange. Okay. So then the attorney for Trump, Sauer, concluded that such conduct was a private act, which would not be subject to immunity. How the hell would you know the difference? Would the person, the president, whoever that might be, would they be able to decide and say, look, they can categorize it for themselves. This is private, this is personal. So then they would never anything. For those of you out there who are, maybe conservatives or Trump supporters, I'm just saying, what if there was a Malia or Sasha Obama who became president? It could happen. And then she would be immune. And then you'd be nervous. What's a black lady going to do? I'm scared. This court, though, appears, but you never know with this, likely that they're going to reject this expansive claim of absolute immunity. But it could remand the case for further proceedings, making it less likely that less likely that a trial would take place before the election. So here's the deal. This is my takeaway. Just so you guys know, hang on here, because this gets me going. Just so you guys know, I think this court's in the bag. I think Donald Trump has really got a hold on them. I think Donald Trump really has a hold on them. I really do. Because Jack Smith knew that this was going to happen. When Merrick Garland appointed him to become special counsel, Jack Smith immediately, he knew that this was going to happen, that they were going to claim that the president was immune to things that happened in office, and that it was to anything that was an official act. Because look, this is all part of a scheme that has been hatched by arch conservatives on the court. They want to have their cake and they want to eat it too. They want to pretend like they're impartial and like they're, really considering this, but they're not really doing it. They really want to help, I believe. From their actions. Remember, I told you I'm never going to say anything that is just opinion. I'm going to give you some facts to back up what I'm saying. They want to help Trump by delaying his trial. Because remember this, Jack Smith asked, that's my Catholic school pronunciation, the court to consider the matter of presidential immunity. He did it as early as December because he knew this was going to come up. He knew it was an election year was coming. He did not want to hold James Comey's situation that happened in 2016, that everybody is still pissed about. And well, a lot of people are still pissed about, and some people are perplexed, and some people are really happy about it, of course, right? So I think that they are dragging this out. Jack Smith asked the court requested to take up this case in December. They waited to take up the case until late February. I think he asked them twice because they denied it the first time. And then he asked again, and they took it up in February. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he asked twice. And then the second time they said, so it wasn't until late February. But eventually, right, they said, well, we're not going to take it up now. We're going to wait till April. So they're taking it up now while this trial is going on. Eventually, they're almost certain they're going to throw him a lifeline, right? Well, they are throwing him a lifeline, I should say. It is almost certain that they're going to rule against him, but they're throwing him a lifeline. They're offering him some time to get his stuff together so that it gets closer and closer to the election, so that if they do take it up, it's going to look weird and people will say, don't do it now, and they'll have an excuse. And then there'll be an excuse, for other courts or what have you. They're just going to delay. And then it gets close to the election. And then they'll say, well, it's too close to the election. We don't want to affect the outcome of the election. Therefore, we have to put all of this on hold until the election is done. And then by then, maybe he'll be president. And then he really will be immune because then he'll be in office and they'll say, well, you can't prosecute and you can't put a sitting president in prison. You see the grift here? You see the scam here, allegedly? Do you see what's happening? I used to always say on my night show, don't fall for the okie doke. A lot of people fall for the okie doke. You guys may be falling for the okie doke. They appear to be serious. Oh, we're listening. We want to know. We have all these questions. We got these tough questions. But let's see how long it takes them to rule on this. It took them from December to April to get here. Knowing that this is an election year, time is of the essence. What do you guys think is going on? Poll question. Hit the thumbs up. Poll question. Do you think this Supreme Court is in the bag for Trump? That's my question. And I'll say allegedly. Do you think that this Supreme Court is in the bag for Trump? As I say here, allegedly. That's what I want to know. Okay? Wow. The yeses started coming up before I even got the full question out of my mouth. Rhonda says, yep. 5 easy questions says yes. Venice Walker said, I totally agree. Rob says yes. The poll is up. Make sure you vote. Renee V says, not all of them, but the majority. I'm not saying all of them. I didn't say Renee. I didn't say all of them. I'm talking about the majority justices on the court, and that's the Republicans. I'm talking about the Amy Coney Barretts of the world, the Gorsicks of the world. That's what I'm talking about. Simon Lester says it's a joke. Sean Payne says yes. Debbie Hagan says no. Why do you say no, Debbie? Tell me. I want to hear about it. Big Dindy Piccolo says yes, of course. Treba says yes. Paul Hines, yes. Bogan Painter, yes. Teresa Conde, lock him up. Patricia Murphy Warwick, showing favoritism for Don. Roxanne Tracy, yes. Robert Henson, it is obvious. Angie McGowan says yes. Cindy D, yes, sir. Liddy Marsh, especially the ones he put in. Timothy Edwards has a long response, says, peace to those who master it, justice to those who study it, and love to those who know its wisdom. The shoe that won the race and the souls that never knew they were in one. Peace and blessings always. Thank you. I will take that. I wonder if that has anything to do with you're trying to give us a message here. Maybe it's going right over my head. Oh, yeah, they are, says Don Quinones. Okay. Ankh Yogi says, Don Lemon, left wing and right wing are from the same cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Thomas should be removed. According to one person on here, I didn't, says Thomas should be removed. Interesting. Okay. I appreciate that. Let's go to the poll now. 506 of you have voted. 87% of you say yes. That's disturbing. You have a Supreme Court. You guys agreeing with, again, this is just my point of view. I showed you the evidence. Please take this case up, Supreme Court, said Mr. Jack Smith. No. Okay, they throw it back. Okay, this is getting serious. Please take this up. Okay, we'll do it. But we're going to take our own sweet time doing it. 87 says yes. Say yes. 87 say yes. That is disturbing. That is disturbing. Oh my gosh, it makes me so sad. What do you think should be done? What should we do? Term limits? I mean, it's kind of late for that now. I don't know. What do you do in this situation? This is perplexing because that means if this is indeed true, what I'm sort of surmising here and what you're saying here in the comments, Bianca Bennett says expand the court. If this is indeed true, then the system really is rigged. I mean, am I lying? Expand the court, says William Butt Jr. or Butte. Charlie Sage of Fire says pack the court. Zen Master Sports and Short says America is over. Wow. Beverly Lowe says Thomas should never have gotten in. He's a pig. He is a pig of public hair. I don't know what that means. Oh, I read that wrong. I thought you meant peace, and I know what you meant. I read public wrong. Okay, sorry. Thank God that my glasses aren't as clear as they should be, that I read that word wrong. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. I know you guys are laughing. Eric B says Thomas needs to go. Lifetime appointment deal. Lifetime appointment. I know, Jimmy Zim Zim. That their life, my voice, your choice, right? So pretty get rid of the court. I don't know if you can get rid of the court, but I think you need to get rid of the rules. I do not think you need lifetime appointments in the court. I don't think there should be lifetime appointments on the court for Democrats or Republicans. I think we need to change that. Just about every government job has term limits. President gets 2 terms, right? But just about every job has term limits. I think there should be term limits for the Senate. I think there should be term limits for the Congress. There should be term limits for everybody. Most people have to retire. They don't get to work in their jobs forever, right? People move along. 12 years, I agree. Charlie C. Sage of Fire, I agree. I think 12 years is a good time, a good amount of time. I think that's a perfect amount of time. Vicky M says, gosh, I missed you, Don Lemon. I love your humor and your take on things. I miss you too, Vicky M. I love your humor and I love your take on things. And I love that you love me and I love that you guys love being part of the Lemon Nation. Can I tell you guys something? Okay. Share a little secret with you. I'm telling you the truth. All right. I'm not exaggerating. This is not hyperbole. So every time I interview or I speak to someone who is part of the YouTube community, they all say, "Oh my gosh, you guys, the elimination is growing. You guys are like a rocket." I swear. What Tim Miller, watch the interview that he goes, "Don, it's like a rocket. The elimination is growing because people are so excited that they actually get to interact with us. It's not just me talking to you." So thank you for that. Okay, so let's get back to work here. So thank you. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Let's talk about the Pecker problems. The former president has Pecker problems. Pecker problems. David Pecker is the former publisher of the National Enquirer. Extra, extra, extra. Read all about it. Remember the old days when people used to do that and they were selling the paper? Extra, extra, extra. Let's talk about the National Enquirer. Testifying, David Pecker and Donald Trump's Pecker problems, testifying for a third day about what prosecutors say was a conspiracy with Mr. Trump and his longtime lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is going to take the stand soon, guys. Michael Cohen is going to take the stand soon, and what a day that will be. On the stand, let's talk about the day. This is what Pecker described. Learning in October of 2016, just weeks before the election, that porn star Stormy Daniels was shopping her account of a sexual encounter with Mr. Trump a decade earlier. Mr. Pecker, whose magazine had bought and buried two other salacious stories on Mr. Trump's behalf, testified that he urged Mr. Cohen to make a deal with Miss Daniels. Dun, dun, dun. Mr. Cohen subsequently paid her $130,000 to keep quiet, and Trump reimbursed him. That reimbursement is at the heart of the 34 felony counts the former president has been charged with. We have a former president that has 34 felony counts in just this case. Crazy. Mr. Pecker also described two so-called catch and kill schemes that he took part in to protect Mr. Trump's campaign, including the suppression of a Playboy model's account of his sexual relationship with Mr. Trump. He described buying off the model, Karen McDougal, for $150,000 and disguising the payment as a deal for other services, effectively concealing a donation to Mr. Trump's campaign. He acknowledged that this type of arrangement, in which a corporation was spending money to influence the election, was unlawful. He admitted that it was unlawful on the stand. The testimony about Ms. McDougal is important for the prosecution's argument that Mr. Trump was seeking to win the election through illegal means. This is a quote, okay? "We didn't want the story to embarrass Mr. Trump or embarrass or hurt the campaign," Mr. Pecker testified about the deal. He also relayed how he entered Mr. Trump's office at Trump Tower shortly before the inauguration. This is new information. This is juicy. Gather close, pay close attention, all right? He entered Mr. Trump's office at Trump Tower shortly before the inauguration, where the president-elect thanked him for suppressing damaging stories. They knew the shit was illegal. "Thanks, man. Thanks for looking out for your boy. I appreciate that. I know this shit's illegal, but we're never gonna get caught. We're gonna get away with it." Also in Mr. Trump's office at the time, 4 other people who would become key figures in his presidency. All right, you guys ready? Sean Spicer of "We had the biggest inauguration crowd ratings ever." False. That's Sean Spicer. That didn't last long as the press secretary. Reince Priebus also didn't last long there. Mike Pompeo, same. And James Comey. And James Comey. That's according to his testimony. That's not me. And even with that, I'll say allegedly. And James Comey, who was the director of the FBI at the time and who would publicly turn against Trump. James Comey. Y'all think this is a game. James Comey. Prosecutors showed Mr. Pecker a photo of himself and Trump walking together on the White House grounds. Pecker says they were discussing Karen McDougal at the moment. How is Karen doing? Pecker says Trump asked him. She is doing well. He says he responded, she is quiet. They quieted her. They wanted to silence her. They silenced her. I'm reading you this today because I'm doing more reading because the testimony today was fascinating. I mean, what do you guys make of the Comey part of this Comey piece? Damn. Wow. Okay. David Pecker also described a conversation he had with Trump more than a year after he was elected president, prompted by Karen McDougal having given a television interview. Trump was aggravated. He was mad. He was upset. The prosecution will use this to illustrate the president of the United States continued to monitor McDougal's movements while in office. So they were watching. They were like, what is this chick up to? What are these people up to? You know we paid them. You know that NDA. You know they shouldn't be talking. I thought you had my back and you this was sewn up. What happened? Before the prosecution wrapped, lawyers for the DA's office had Pecker walk through his non-prosecution agreement in connection with the 2018 federal investigation into the actions of Michael Cohen and American Media, AMI, the National Enquirer's parent company. They did this in order to keep the defense team from being able to use it as a cudgel attack to attack Pecker's credibility. So they wanted to get it out there, right? Pecker ended his testimony by saying that he still views Trump as a mentor and a friend. Now, Donald Trump is still a mentor and a friend, but yet you're testifying against him. So it would be hard for me to testify against my mentor. In order for me to go up against a mentor and a friend, it would have to be true. I'd have to be telling the truth. I'd have to have no other choice but to tell the truth, right? Am I right? Now, I can see if it was someone you considered an enemy, someone you didn't like, it would be easy to sit there and say, that man did it, sir, and this is what he did, and I hope he goes to prison. But if it's a mentor and a friend, you're like, listen, I hate doing this, but I have taken an oath, and I have to tell the truth because the truth will make you free. A mentor and a friend he still considers, and he knows the whole scheme. And how would he know, hey, we were walking across the White House lawn, and that's where we were talking about Karen McDougal. We were in the Oval, and that's where Pompeo was, that's where Spicer was, that's where Comey was. Now, you want to talk about the real deep state? Come on now. That's why I'd say that's what I mean about democracy being on the line here. Because that will be a true dictatorship. That would be the end of democracy. To have all of this evidence and all of this is, listen, innocent until proven guilty, but come on, we know. And the reason that I feel so strongly about this, right? I'm always innocent until proven guilty. Don't get me wrong. Michael Cohen went to the prison for the same thing, and he was found guilty for this. So how can Michael Cohen be guilty of it when Donald Trump's signature's on the checks as well? How can he be guilty and Donald Trump not be? I mean, it could work out that way because depending on who your lawyers are and how much influence you have, and if someone had their finger on the scale, their thumb on the scale for when Donald Trump was in office for Michael Cohen's case. But how can Michael Cohen be guilty of the same crime and Donald Trump be innocent? That's what I'm talking about. How can James Comey be in the Oval and hear him thanking him for suppressing stories? Why didn't James Comey say anything about it? I don't know. I'm going to ask James Comey. I think I have an interview with him coming up. I want to ask him. I don't want to be too hard on him, but I want to ask him what happened. I want to know. Maybe there's a good reason. Maybe he'll say that Pecker is lying. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. I don't know. So let's talk about cross-examination now. Lawyer Emil Bove handled the cross-examination for Trump's defense today. In an admission of the ugly side of the tabloid trade, Pecker says that his magazines would buy negative stories as leverage against celebrities and coerce them into providing interviews and other access. That's it. I'm telling y'all, this happens all the time. When I tell you guys to not believe everything you read, that's what I mean about it. You guys will believe everything you read about everyone, including me. People, there are operatives out there. There are people who don't care about journalistic truth. They have no standards and practices. They have no standards. They don't care about sources. They make up sources. If they don't like if you're in a position of power and they don't like what you're doing or saying, they make up shit about you and they try to get rid of you. That's what they do. They try to influence the public by spreading negative stories. So I want you guys to be this should make you media literate. We need more media literacy in this country. And I think this it's sad that we've come to this with this case, but this will expose people to that and they will understand that you have to be media literate. You cannot just rely on tabloid journalism. You know, you go to the whatever Mail it is or the whatever tabloid, New York tabloid or whatever it is. And y'all just believe it. Or maybe you don't. Do you believe it? Maybe you don't. Maybe you just go, I know this isn't true, or you take it with a grain of salt. I have no idea. In an admission of the ugly side of the tabloid business, Pecker said that his magazines would buy negative stories as leverage against celebrities to coerce them into providing interviews and other access. So basically, they're buying people. What Emil Bove is doing does not take away from the possibility that, as prosecutors claim, Trump participated in a conspiracy with Pecker and Cohen. But I think he's doing a nice job here of blurring the lines between right and wrong, raising doubts in the minds of the jurors, is what I think he's doing. He's doing something that trial lawyers often do. He is dropping a single phrase into his question over and over again to try to plant into jurors' minds. And the phrase is that he's using is standard operating procedure, is what he's saying. Standard operating procedure. He said it at least 3 times so far. The reason, as we have said, is suggests that Pecker's relationship with Trump was totally standard and thus not criminal. But he's lying. That shit was criminal. It's criminal to try to influence an election, right? It's criminal to do that. It's criminal to do what they did in order to affect the outcome of an election. That is criminal. That is criminal. David Pecker is testifying that he suppressed stories on behalf of Ari and Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel, of course, is a well-known Democrat, the former mayor of Chicago. He was a White House chief of staff for Barack Obama, and currently he's a U.S. ambassador to Japan. Moments later, David Pecker even mentions the actor Mark Wahlberg. The testimony in court has been like a tabloid come to life. What did I tell y'all? You guys lap up this tabloid stuff, and look, he even was walking David Pecker to how he engaged in very similar behavior to help Arnold Schwarzenegger's campaign for governor. That's what he claims. Orchestrating a catch and kill deals to protect him. That's what they're claiming. The cross-examination is still going on. Let me ask you this. Do you think they'll be successful in proving that? Do you think catching and killing stories is standard operating procedure? That's the poll. Do you think catching and killing stories is standard operating procedure? Hit the thumbs up, please. Hit the like and the thumbs up. I would appreciate it if you did that. And now make sure you vote. Do you think it is standard operating procedure? Because if they prove that it's standard operating procedure, maybe Trump will get away with it. Maybe it'll let him off the hook. That part may be standard operating procedure, but doing it to affect the outcome of an election, that is not standard operating procedure. So you guys think it is. I'm not going to get to the poll, but I'll read to you what some of you say. J.M. Smith says yes. Brixton UK says, unfortunately, yes. Patricia Harmschmack says, of course. Sandra Kelly says, yes. Isadora Smith, yes. Jeremiah Larkin says, down with Trump forever in all caps. Standard operating, Academy says. Michael Riley says, yes. S. Ruin says, absolutely. Moon Goddess says, unfortunately, I do. Unfortunately, I do. Carla says, nope. Some people don't. Some people don't. Renee V says, wait, but should it be? Tia Mia says, sad, but yes. Bernice Cruz is laughing, though. She says, it's a witch hunt, LOL. Merle Ortega says, what is it, tabloid mainstream media now? Because I feel like those two have merged. I can't tell them apart. What is tabloid media versus mainstream media now? Because I feel they're the same. I cannot tell them apart. Well, that's why I said you need some media literacy if you cannot tell them apart. I'm not sure how much that is going to change, especially with the proliferation of social media, especially with people in this day and age just writing whatever they want. Let me tell you, they write whatever they want. They can say whatever. They can make up a story about you, and it can be completely wrong. But then other people will repeat it, and by then it's out in the zeitgeist. It's out there in the world, and has been written, and people believe it. And then someone who's in a high profile position will say, well, I'm not going to respond to it because if I respond to it, I'm going to give it oxygen. And then more people will see it than before. And so it is a catch-22, and they know that. So they make up stories and they write whatever they want. And then your reputation is soiled or sullied. And if you respond to it, and they're like, oh, well, wow, there must be some truth to it because they're responding. I'm telling you, I do believe, as a free speech absolutist, okay, I do believe that we need to look at New York Times versus Sullivan again. We need to rethink that because people, I'm telling you, the way it is made up, people can write whatever they want about you. And that's why Donald Trump and David Pecker were able to do that. That's why Michael Cohen was able to do what he did. Because they can do that. There should be parameters. There should be rules. Like I believe in moderation for social media sites. I believe there should be, if you're going to write something or print something about someone, it must be true. It must be true. And if it is not true, if it is proven not to be true, and if it is proven that you don't have sources, you're making them up, or your source is not credible, I believe that you should be able to sue. The standards for libel and slander should be lowered. For most people, if you're an everyday citizen, it's not that hard to sue for it. If you're a person of prominence, it's really hard to do. And they know it. And that's why they did it. That's why Donald Trump and David Pecker did what they did. That's why the Inquirer does what it does, because they know that they can get away with it. My dog agrees with you, by the way. So let's look at the polls, okay? It says, do you think catching and killing stories is standard operating procedure? 66% of you said yes. 34% say no. It's not as cut and dry as you think. Listen, it's a majority that say yes here. But it's not a big majority. Why is that? Let's talk about something else. Speaking of tabloid journalism, things that are in the tabloids, okay? I want to talk about two things really quickly here, all right? And then I'm gonna let you run. But hold on, because I have good stuff, okay? Don't everybody run off. So thank you for that poll, all right? We appreciate it, and we're gonna move on. Hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. Okay, Harvey Weinstein. I woke up to this news today and I was actually really surprised. Harvey Weinstein, the New York's highest court on Thursday overturned Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction. Overturned it, reversing. This is a landmark ruling on the Me Too era. What does this mean for the Me Too era? The court found that the trial judge unfairly allowed testimony against the ex-movie mogul based on allegations that weren't part of the case. Now, listen, I think most people, there's no love lost for most people when it comes to Harvey Weinstein. But even if you think someone, regardless of what you think, they deserve to have a fair trial. Don't you agree with that? Innocent until proven guilty. They deserve to have a fair trial. Donald Trump deserves to have a fair trial. But they're saying that based on these allegations, that the judge unfairly allowed testimony against the ex-movie mogul. They found the testimonies were, I quote here, more prejudicial than probative. The terms were now that we are now familiar with because of the Trump trial, right? Because Trump's Sandoval hearing on Monday. The difference between prejudicial and probative. Harvey Weinstein is 72. He's going to remain in prison because he was convicted in Los Angeles in 2022 of another rape. But the New York ruling reopens a very painful chapter in America's reckoning with sexual misconduct by powerful figures, an era that began in 2017 with a flood of allegations against Weinstein. It sparked this entire movement, right? It really, these seemingly invulnerable titans all were taken down by Bill Cosby, Kevin Spacey, Bill O'Reilly. A lot of people were taken down by it. But some people in recent months and in recent years, I should say, they're wondering whether the Me Too movement went too far. And let me explain that. Because they believe that everyone was put in the Harvey Weinstein bucket, the Harvey Weinstein categories, even for infractions that people believe weren't as egregious as what Harvey Weinstein. I'm not saying it's right, or some that were completely false and unwarranted, they believe. Like, remember the former comedian, Democratic Senator Al Franken? People were like, really? He did something I think I did not necessarily agree with, and, I think it was maybe sort of immature behavior. But did it warrant him losing his position as a senator? Taking him out of the whole process of where this country goes? Did it warrant that? And by the way, people still call him up. They put him on television. They ask him, as a professional, as an expert on topics. The Harvey Weinstein thing really supercharged this movement, and a lot of people got caught up in it. And many people believe, and I'm just telling the truth, that the Me Too movement went too far. Okay? And I don't know if this is going to change that, but I'm wondering how this is going to affect the Me Too movement. Because you could, remember with Aziz Ansari, somebody accused him of being, some sort of advance, and it was untoward. And as it turns out, most people agree it was a bad date. Now, these awful things do happen. Women are put in uncompromising positions all the time, men as well, and it shouldn't happen. But not everything is Harvey Weinstein worthy. Not everything should be cancelable. People make mistakes. Sometimes you might think, okay, I would say now in this day and age, do not ask a coworker out. That's just me. I'm just saying. It's when most people meet at work. I know plenty of people, many people who met at work and are married. Right? We have examples of people on television. Right? Look at Meek and Joe. Right? They met at work. They were co-anchors. Now they're married. They have a lovely relationship. I'm not saying anything disparaging about them. But I wouldn't in this day and age, because you never know what people can accuse you of. Progressive Gal 73 says, correction, the Al Franken thing didn't go so far as much as it was misapplied. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The taste, I agree with this. Me Too was co-opted. It was co-opted to just catch people. Jeremiah Larkin says, great show, Don. I love being a lemonhead. Thank you very much for that. So remember Kevin Spacey found innocent, says Debbie Wilcox. Academy says Franken and Davis. The Cheshire Cat says Franken shouldn't have resigned. Okay. Do you think that this will affect the Me Too movement? That's the poll. Will this affect the Me Too movement negatively? That's the poll. That's what I would like to know. Um, Token Citizen says, keep your hands to yourself. Amen. I agree with that. Keep your hands to yourself. But I'm just telling you what's in the, I have been doing this for a long time, and I saw how the pendulum has swung from everything is Harvey Weinstein to people are like, wait a minute, that was different. That wasn't right. But that person didn't deserve to be in the same category as Harvey Weinstein. Not everything is equal. There are degrees to everything. I'm just saying, I'm just telling you the truth. As I say, I'm just telling you, many people say, right? C Magic says, no one believed Anita Hill. Now look who is on the bench. Wow. Yeah, that's true. Beth H says, Kevin Spacey is a tremendous actor. I don't care about the rest. Wow. Really? Wow. Okay. Gen X Fargo says, enough with the predator prey situation in society. Yeah. Ziggy says, it's not going to affect the Me Too movement. Okay. Oink Yogi says, I didn't hit the thumbs up button. We'll hit it. Well, someone said, Vo Tay says, well, Trump said, grab him by the, you know what? He did. He did say that. You should not do that. Everyone should keep their hands to themselves. But there are degrees to everything. There are degrees to everything. So my question is, do you think it will affect the Me Too movement negatively? Okay. I'll do the quick poll reading. So 300 people, 54% of you say no, 46% say yes, it will. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, well, there we go. Women have always been ignored until Me Too. Now it's in jeopardy. Arletha Papa says that. Do you think it's in jeopardy? And I do agree with you that women had been ignored, that women had been mistreated in the workplace and had largely been ignored until the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement did mainly good, mostly good, but some people did use it to their advantage to try to take people down. Come on, guys, you know that did happen. The Me Too didn't affect Trump, says Emily Rusher. Okay, someone said, I believed Anita Hill. That's great. Okay, all right, so that's what the poll says. 54% say no. So I'm going to do this last story because who do you think the VP is going to be? Who do you think Donald Trump's going to pick for VP? Who do you think Donald Trump's going to pick for VP, and who should he pick? Maybe you don't care, but who do you think? Well, the odds are on possibly, guess who? Little Marco. Do you remember Little Marco? They called him Little Marco. Remember that? Something just caught my eye as I went by. Merle Ortega says, even Johnny Depp was taken down by it. What do you think about cancel culture? Okay. So listen, Little Marco. I'm saying Little Marco because that was Donald Trump's nickname for Little Marco. But there are murmurs in the Trump world that Florida Senator Marco Rubio may be on top of the former president's Veep list. Someone said George Santos. Come on, Gilbert. Now, many expect Trump is going to pick a black man or a woman. Rubio could help Trump further build his reputation of the Republican inroads with the Hispanic community. He could help with that. More importantly, he is beloved with the non-MAGA GOP establishment. He is part of the establishment, and they love him. Now, this could explain why Rubio, who is a known foreign policy hawk, voted against Mike Johnson backed bipartisan four-part foreign policy bills, and why he is slated to attend an upcoming Mar-a-Lago fundraiser. So people were wondering, well, why did he vote against this? So what do you guys think? Do you think it should be Little Marco? Should Little Marco become the VP, or should pick the VP pick? Someone says, Felix Kadelbrunner says Tucker Carlson for VP. Oh, he loves the black, says Bunny Sloggins. Josephine Marchand says Tim. I don't know. Maybe Tim Scott. Please, not the disgraceful Tim Scott with all the grinning, says Teresa Marlene. Beth H says Ted Nugent. NL Love says, I really don't care. Okay, NL Love, I get you. Drunken Monkey says Kid Rock. Marsha AMW says Little Marco is a twerp. Says Little Marco is a twerp. The poll is in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and you hit the like. Bo Morgan says, calm down. I'm not excited. Andrew Charles says, why little Marco put himself in the Trump fire? Rob Taylor says he will pick himself. Well, that's true. He's only thinking about himself. Leslie G. Lattimore says Tim Scott to appeal to black voters. Stacey Murray says, heck yes, easy to beat. They believe, you guys believe, MTG is the new Louis Gohmert, says Zen Master Sports and Shorts. Cato Kalin, someone says. Okay, you guys. Okay. RFK Jr., some folks said. I'm going to do the poll, and I'm going to let y'all go early, catch a break here. So should Marco Rubio be the VP pick? 88% say no out of the 300 votes. 88% say no. Thank you for voting. I appreciate you watching. I'm going to see you back here tomorrow at 5 o'clock, but it won't be here because I will be in Los Angeles. Remember, I'm going to be on the Bill Maher show. So will you guys tune in? Let me know what you think. If you guys have any suggestions of what you want me to say or talk about, put them in the comments and I'll look. Make sure you watch our show that we taped earlier, the panel that I did with the folks from the Bulwark. It is fantastic. They talk about a lot of the things that we discussed today, but they're way smarter in politics. And I just saw someone say Ron DeSantis. So make sure you do that. And I appreciate you joining us. Join me tomorrow. I'm going to try to. I'll let you know via social media, or I'll put it in our community, on our community page, if I can make it work in Los Angeles from the hotel or from maybe a green room at the Bill Maher show. Okay. I hate like not spending time with you guys, because I think we have something special here. I think we have something special, girl. Come on, girl. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Do people still do that? I really did that as a kid. No, you hang up. Did you guys do that? Well, that's how I feel about y'all. So I'm going to hang up first. Don't be mad. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. See you, Lemonheads.